Donald Sparkman is an extraordinary entrepreneur.
I've been a self-made man. I've never worked for anybody at all. My whole entire life, I've always been self-employed, never had a paycheck. Worked most of my life moving houses and barbering. And moving houses is a really tough business, crawling underneath houses and jacking them up and putting them on trailers and moving them across town. I'd work in the barbershop during the day, and then after the barbershop, I'd work on moving houses.
But a slip and fall changed everything for Don.
About 1 year before I went to the Institute, I was at one of my rental houses, and it had about 7 stairs going up it, and there was mildew on it, and I fell down the mildew stairs and hit my lower back on each rung of the stairs. And at that time, I did the natural thing that comes to most guys, is just did that dance, you do when you get hurt. Oh my God, oh my God. A couple of days later, I couldn't walk. So I did the Bengay thing and the icy hot and the cold packs, and it just didn't get any better.
His pain intensified so much that he was no longer able to function at his normal 110%.
The pain on my body was in my lower back. I had found out that I had ruptured several discs. It hurt so bad that I could hardly walk, and it was just pain of needles going down my right leg and sometimes my left leg. It got to where my days at the barbershop were shorter and shorter until the time that I had to start walking on a cane. I went to my general practitioner, and that's when he took the x-rays and told me that I had several ruptured discs. The thing that I wanted to do first is go to a chiropractor, see if he could help me with those disc problems. He did nothing but hurt me. It's the worst thing anybody can do is go to a chiropractor with lower back problems. It put me down to where I could hardly walk. And then he wanted to schedule another session with me. That didn't happen. I tried all the topical creams, and also took several of the shots in the spine from a pain management doctor. They started giving me pain medicines that made my stomach sick. Then I started refusing them. After actually feeling worse by going to the pain management, my memory was foggy. I couldn't do the things I wanted to do anymore.
When conservative treatments left Don in even more pain and the medications began affecting other parts of his overall health, he knew that he had to take matters into his own hands and contacted the Bonati Spine Institute.
It was on the TV that I heard about the Institute. Then I did my research, and I had read on the internet how he had helped others and seen others that had similar back issues like mine. And I contacted my local attorney that I work with, and he says, anybody that's real successful in doing something, there's always somebody there to write something bad about them. And the good outweighed the bad. It wasn't hard to make my decision after reading the testimonies on the internet. So that's when I decided to go to Hudson and do what I had to do. When I first contacted the Institute, we went through the norm of the insurances and things like that. And I went down there and they redid an MRI, which was made me feel good because it didn't take anybody else's opinion. They made their own opinion up. I did talk to a surgeon, and he explained everything to me. Explained to me how the operation was going to take place and how long it would be, and that I would be able to be without pain any longer. And I really was kind of skeptical about it because I didn't think that was possible. I was on a cane, couldn't do anything. I felt like half of a man. When you can't do anything, you're used to doing everything. It was hard to deal with. And this man was telling me he was going to give me back my life, and I'm real thankful for that.
If you are considering spine surgery to relieve chronic pain, the Bonati Spine procedures are targeted outpatient procedures, unlike anything else in the market.
L1 through 5 and S1 was what was ruptured and injured, and it was pinching the nerves. He explained to me that the way that they were going to fix that was they were going to take a laser and trimming that off so the nerve would not hit any longer, and therefore I wouldn't have the pain. I remember sitting in the chair waiting on the sedatives to work, and then going to the table and hardly being able to lay down on the table because I had the pain. But I also remember getting off the table with no pain. I didn't still understand how this was possible, that he could just make such a small incision and this would cure the pain, but it did. And after I got off the table, I sat down in a chair and they gave me some soda or a drink of some sort, and I needed to go to a motel that was right next door to the institute and rest. And I had a drainage bag on my back, and he said he would see me the next day. I felt so good, I took my wife to Tarpon Springs and walked the docks at Tarpon Springs and took her to dinner, something that I wasn't able to do for so long.
Since his procedure, Don has picked up right where he left off before the pain, working hard and managing his businesses. He's also completed several personal projects like constructing a deck at his home, refurbishing a salvage pool, and restoring a 1979 Volkswagen bus named Benny.
Well, my wife had to slow me down because I was back on my feet again, and I felt like I could do anything. And the doctor had told me not to pick up anything over 20 pounds. About everything that I deal with over 20 pounds except for the barbershop, but I was real lucky I could go back and do the things I wanted to do. Soon after the operation, I didn't have any more pain, so it's kind of hard to take instructions, even from the doctor, not to do things that you feel so good to do. So I started immediately doing all those things, and I have never looked back since.
In fact, within a month of his visit to Bonatti, Don went with his son on a vacation that he'll never forget.
I had not been able to travel for quite a long time because sitting in an airplane or sitting in a car was just not acceptable anymore. I couldn't ride more than 20 minutes without having to get out and somebody would have to help me out of my car. But after the operation, I took a flight to Denver, Colorado with my son, and my son drove the truck, and we went up into the mountains and we went whitewater rafting, which was really cool. And I think the rapids were fours, which were pretty strong rapids. We zip lined around the mountains on a zip line. Me being the oldest man, the 4 firemen were on the tower at the zip line, and my son, all of them didn't want to take off, and I was the first one off the tower to zip line. And so they followed the old man after that, I guess. But we all had a good time, and that was a pretty cool experience, knowing that I could do the things that I used to do when I was younger without the pain.